Welcome everyone to the first ever episode of my official WWE roster rankings. So what this is going to be my thoughts, my input, and what I think and how I think the roster stands up. Who's at the top, who's at the bottom, who's creeping up into it, who's, kind of like getting like consideration from me. So these are my top 25 across Raw and SmackDown. I don't do NXTs. I don't watch it as much. I do watch Takeover, but it's mainly just to see the title matches on there. So these guys and like women as well are my top 25 as of right now, which is Thursday, September 23rd, 1:15 a.m. So SmackDown is on Friday. We just had Raw, and Extreme Rules is this Sunday. So I want to do these probably about every 2 weeks just to, kind of just get going, give it some time to breathe on the rankings. I don't want to do it weekly because I feel like a lot doesn't happen weekly. So probably every 2 weeks, and if it feels like nothing happened in those 2 weeks, I'll move it to a month. To most likely after each pay-per-view is how I'll probably do it if the 2 weeks doesn't feel right. So jumping right into it now. These are my rankings for WWE. I'll start from the back half of the list. So we'll go 25 to 1. I'm pretty sure y'all know who 1 is. It should be the best top guy for everyone. Anyways, starting at number 25. So there's a number of people who I considered for this list who didn't quite make the list. And those people include The Miz. He's missed a lot of time recently with an injury. He did start to wrestle again. He got turned on by John Morrison, and then he is off right now for Dancing with the Stars, I believe. So he's not on my rankings because he's missed some time here and there. He's not an active wrestler as of right now, I think. If he does come back to Raw, he will, of course, be added to the list because he's a great wrestler, a great superstar, a great entertainer. So as of right now, he's not on the list. Other guys who aren't on the list are Karrion Kross, new to the roster, hasn't had a great start. That's why he's on the list. Keith Lee missed a lot of time, not on the list. Asuka has been off of TV for a while now, so she's not on the list. Sasha Banks and Bayley. Bayley is hurt. Sasha came back, and then she got scratched from SummerSlam, so she's not on the list, and she's not been back since SummerSlam. So they aren't on the list. Omos has been a tag team champion, but I don't know where they go with him now. They built him up pretty well. I do like that he feels like this guy who can't be beaten, but now what happens to him? Not on the list. Cesaro, ever since he had his little mini feud with Roman after WrestleMania, he's kind of been on the backslide. He hasn't gotten much TV time. So for that reason, he's not on the list. And then the other guys and women who aren't on the list, who I have left out, are Liv Morgan, Carmella, Nikki Ash. Montez Ford is a guy that I really like a lot. I think he's a future world champion. That dude is such fun to watch. But as of right now, where he's at in the tag team division, I feel like he's kind of stuck. And I don't see a path for him right now. But I say give it 3 to 5 years, and that dude is a future world champion. He is so much fun to watch. His frog splash it literally looks like he's like 20 feet in the air whenever he does his frog splashes. And so now, let's see. So that's everyone who's not on the list for me. I like Liv Morgan. I like Carmella. I like Nikki Ash. She looked good when she had her title reign, even though it was like 2 weeks. But so Carmella's really improved in the ring over the last few years from what I've seen. And same thing for like Liv Morgan and Zelina Vega. Like, I feel like these women have a great chance to really move up in the rankings. But then these are my rankings. So like these really don't have any like I feel like my wrestling knowledge is based within the past year. I've been out of watching wrestling for so long to where what I've seen, what I've heard is me going back and looking at stuff, and then me watching stuff right now. So that's why these people aren't on the list. So now getting right into this now. Number 25, Shinsuke Nakamura. I have Shinsuke here because his whole feud with Baron Corbin to transition King Corbin back to Baron Corbin and Shinsuke becoming the king and then Shinsuke being Apollo for the IC title was great. But now what do you do with him? He kind of feels stale. He has a great entrance. He has a great intro song. He has Rick Boogs with him. Does Rick Boogs eventually turn on him to win the IC title? Like Rick Boogs, I'm more excited for Rick Boogs than Shinsuke every week. So I'm not really sure what they do with Shinsuke, but they need to figure something out for him. Okay, so moving past 25, at number 24, I have John Morrison. He was fun to watch in the Money in the Bank match. He's had a ton of screen time this year with The Miz. Like, let him be in the mid card, let him run around, and you never know once. And I hope this never happens, but once injuries start to happen to people, that's when we might see a guy like John Morrison kind of transition up past the mid card into that upper mid card. But I don't really realistically see him up there. But as of right now, he's number 24 on my list. Number 23, this one's a bit of a shocker for myself even, is AJ Styles. He has really done nothing this whole past year. Well, not nothing. He's helping to establish Omos. He's been the Raw Tag Team Champion. He was the IC Champion at the start of the pandemic. It was like him, Sami Zayn, Jeff Hardy. It was real weird how all that worked out. Anyways, AJ Styles is so low on my list because he is currently not really doing anything. He kind of feuds with the top guys, and then he'll kind of just be gone from it. Like, they put him back in the main event. That's where he belongs, and he'll easily move up this list. He should be a top 10 guy regardless, but from where he's at in the card right now, that's why he's at number 23. At number 22 is Rey and Dominic Mysterio. I put these two together because they are very clearly a package item. Them winning the tag team championships together as the first father-son duo was amazing. Rey is literally a living legend, has been wrestling for over 30 years now. His son looks really, really well, really, really good as well. And I do enjoy watching Dominic wrestle. I feel like he's learning a lot. And I feel like you can tell that as you're watching him wrestle. Like, he's learning as he goes. And it feels like every week he gets better. It's honestly what it feels like. Number 21 is Kevin Owens. Just a versatile guy. So good. His feud with Roman at the start of the year was really, really good. He's kind of just floated around, though. And they need to figure out what to do with him. Maybe send him back to Raw soon. At number 20, Sami Zayn, kind of in that same vein. He was in the IC feud. He lost the IC title to Big E, which kind of propped up Big E for his big singles run. And then Sami Zayn his whole thing with the conspiracy theory, it's a very good gimmick. And then his whole thing with Baron with Logan Paul, like, Sami Zayn's been good this year. I really enjoyed him and what he does character-wise. Wrestling-wise, he's a great wrestler. They don't give him a lot of ring time. At number 19 is Happy Corbin. He has been phenomenal with his new gimmick. It's probably one of the best transitions where we went from King Corbin to, like, bum-ass Corbin, then now to Happy Corbin. I've enjoyed every minute of it. I feel like he's had one of the best characters in the WWE in a while now, and I really hope that he gets up to that upper mid card again. In hopefully the lower main event scene, or like a thing that I could see him doing is going to Raw, beating Big E somewhere down the line, just to get a bunch of heat on him. And then, because Baron's been like Corbin's been so much fun to watch this year, especially since his transition. At number 18 is Alexa Bliss. I don't mind her. I don't mind her character. I prefer the older version of Alexa Bliss. But if she is still that, then it would be kind of stale. So I don't mind this character work that she's doing as the female fiend. But I don't at the same time, you really care for it. So that's where I'm at with that. She's just kind of here. Depending on what she does, if she wins the title or not, it will affect whether she moves up. But I see her staying in this 15 to 18 range for me right now. At number 17 is Charlotte Flair. Raw Women's Champion. We've seen her do it a bunch. She's always around the title picture, which, I mean, when you have that super dominant person like that, you kind of want them up there, but people just hate her right now. I don't hate her. I think it's fine where she's at, but that's other people for you. They want to see different things. I'm indifferent to it. She's a great wrestler. She's probably the best women's wrestler on the roster, but she's so much better than everyone else that it makes her look super dominant and super heelish. So when they try to run her as a face, it just doesn't work. Number 16, Kofi and Woods. I put these together. The New Day. These guys, the funnest guys on the roster. Whenever you see them on screen, they're always having fun. They have their own podcast. They get their own clips on YouTube. They get backstage segments. These guys, they are the guys. Like it's just so much fun watching them. They make wrestling fun to watch. Number 15 is Sheamus. I have Sheamus here because he has been a workhorse for Raw. He had a great feud with Drew McIntyre. He won the U.S. title. I think him breaking his nose kind of derailed what they were going to do with him. So I understand why post WrestleMania he hasn't been as great as what he was. But it's still been fun to watch. He's still been a great worker. I think he might get one more run as a WWE champion again. You never know. Number 14 is Finn Balor. This guy, when he came back, so I was at that show. And as soon as I heard, so I was going up into the concessions, and his music hit, and I was about halfway up, and I sprinted back down on my seat. I was in the front row in the 120 section, so we were right before floor seating, but I was in the very first row there, and it electric, man. His entrance is so much fun. His character now as like Prince Balor is amazing. His moveset fits him perfectly. And he just feels like this underdog babyface, but that has that edge to him. And so hopefully at Extreme Rules we see that edge with the Demon Finn Balor. I'm really excited to watch him wrestle. And granted, he should be higher than what he is right now. But I like where I have him here. So he's at number 14. At number 13 is Rhea Ripley. She won the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania from Asuka. She defended it for 2 months before Charlotte beat her, and then Nikki Ash cost it on. The whole women's scene on Raw has been so weird. But I feel like Rhea, like her wrestling has shown through that, if that makes sense. Like, she's a great wrestler. She has the physique and the attitude and the skill to match up to Charlotte. That's why I feel like she's the perfect foil to Charlotte. So they should really let that run longer. But they just feel too alike, though, if that makes sense. So I think moving her to moving her to SmackDown would really help her out. But as of right now, I have her at number 13. Number 12 is Damien Priest. Him getting that run with Bad Bunny, and he was one of the few guys to come up during the Rumble. Like, he was one of the few NXT guys that actually came up during the Rumble, which is really weird. Like, normally, I feel like we would see a lot of NXT guys come up during the Rumbles, but he was one of, I think, maybe 2 or 3. And honestly, it might have just been him. But his whole run with Bad Bunny against the Miz and John Morrison, that was all great. I really enjoyed it. He's a U.S. champion now. He's really fun to watch as well. You can tell that there's energy with him, and I feel like people like him a lot. All right, on to number 11 now. So here at 11, I have Becky Lynch. Okay, so hear me out here. I have Becky at this point because I feel like she's so freshly back, but people love her. But people are booing her because they know that we need to boo her because she's the heel. But man, like, her entrance as well was just amazing. Everyone loves her. Everyone loved her run as like the man, and she's still like the man. But it was that like stone cold like they want her to be a heel, but she ends up being a face. This anti-hero, like, she's the biggest name for like women's wrestling. But at the same time, she just came back. She's been gone 18 months now with her pregnancy, which is understandable. But yeah, that's why I have her at 11. I want to see an extended run, and she'll easily be within the top 5. At number 10 is Bianca Belair. If this was pre-SummerSlam, Bianca's probably in the top 5. But since her loss to Becky at SummerSlam, like, it was a squash match. Like, there's no other way to put it. She got squashed. And why that they did that, I don't know. I won't really stick on it that much. But she is number 10. I have her ahead of Becky because she's carried the women's division in SmackDown for the past 5-6 months now, since WrestleMania, and even since the Royal Rumble. Like, her and Sasha co-carried that like division, and like Bayley, of course, too. All right, top 10. That was number 10. Number 9, Randy Orton. He took some time off from when they first went on tour or started going back on the road. He took, I want to say, 6 weeks off, maybe, something like that. And honestly, it might even be less. It might have been like a month off. But his whole bromance with like Matt Riddle has been so much fun to watch. They've been probably the funnest thing about Raw for so long now. Like, them and Kofi and Woods have been probably the best part about Raw. And I do have some more things to talk about for Raw coming up. But Orton is here at 9, though. Just such a workhorse. He can just be the guy. And I feel like he's a like transition guy now. Like, they can use him to transition big belts. Like, he can realistically beat Roman or Big E, hold the title for 2 weeks, drop it to someone else, and no one would kind of even bat an eye. Like, that's just who Randy is. Like, he, at this point in his career, is still one of the top wrestlers in the company. He's a 14-time world champion, but he can even be a transition guy, which is insane to think. Number 8, Seth Rollins has had some of his best heel work in a long time. And his whole feud with Edge has been amazing. And I can't wait to see what they do with them going forward. Like, they have so much that they can do with Seth Rollins. At number 7 is Edge. Since coming back, won the Rumble from the 1 spot. Main event in WrestleMania with Rowan and Daniel Bryan. He's been amazing. Just the energy that the crowd brings for Edge. Like, he was everyone's most hated wrestler back in like 2005 to like 2009. Like, everyone hated him because he was that heel. He was that guy. Like, he was literally the like antithesis to John Cena. He was John Cena's biggest rival. And for him to come back and be a hero now, it's just amazing to watch. I love watching him wrestle now, even though I hated him as a kid. Number 6, I think this is a bit of a shock for some people here. Jey Uso. Jey Uso has been so much fun to watch during this like pandemic era. He has his own character now. He's very different from Jimmy Uso. He is the right-hand man of Roman Reigns, and I thoroughly enjoy watching him. And I think he can be one of the like 4 or 5 guys that can beat Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. Like, I love Jey Uso's character, and I think there's a lot that they can do with him. At number 5, Matt Riddle, such a workhorse, has been the U.S. champion, beat Lashley for the U.S. Championship. He's now a tag team champion with Randy Orton. His character is so much fun. Just the whole like I'm high all the time kind of thing. It works for some reason, but it only works with him. Also, their merch, fire. Him as a wrestler, fire. Let's see, number 4, Bobby Lashley. He has been dominant, man. It's insane how dominant he's been. Like, he's had a great run. I've really enjoyed it. Him with MVP as his talking piece, amazing. Like, I'm so happy that Lashley got this run as the WWE champion. If it was the Universal Championship, I feel like it doesn't have that same impact. But him as the WWE champion really felt great. Like the almighty Bobby Lashley. Like, that just has such a great ring to it. Like, he's gonna be, well, like, and I don't know if he gets multiple title reigns, which is like really weird. Like, I feel like guys nowadays, they don't get like multiple title reigns anymore. But I feel like he might be one of the guys who does get at least 1 or 2 more. I can see realistically like AJ Styles getting another one. Orton, of course. Lashley, of course. Big E hopefully gets more than 1 title reign. Drew McIntyre's already a 2-time champion, but like, he's gonna get more like over the course of his career. But there's very few guys who I see as like world champion, like top guy, top billing person, and Lashley is still one of those guys. At number 3, I have Big E. Cashing the Money in the Bank, has had probably the best year of his career over the pandemic era. I really enjoy watching him. He is so much fun to watch. His intro song, not a fan of it. I really hope that he could stick with the like New Day theme, but I understand trying to establish himself as his own. But it's just such a vibe when that it's a new day. Yes, it is. Like when that pops on versus his current intro, it's just such a different vibe. But he is at number 3. He's a WWE champion right now. He's going to be the face of Raw pretty soon. And I really do hope that he gets a dominant run as a babyface. All right, at number 2, Drew McIntyre. I love this guy. He's probably my favorite wrestler outside of the top guy. Drew's just so dominant, has the charisma, has the mic skills, can tell a story with anything. Remember that his sword is now the tooth of the Loch Ness Monster. So that is insane to think that that's canon within the like WWE lore. But Drew McIntyre, simply amazing. He's huge, but flies around the ring like nothing. Like, him and Roman are, I would say, around the same size. Drew's probably even bigger than Roman. And he just flies around like crazy, man. Like, watching him wrestle and seeing how huge he is, like, it is so much fun to watch him wrestle. I hope Drew is the one to knock off Roman. And I hope Drew gets his time to shine in front of fans. And finally, at number 1, the most dominant, the head of the table, the tribal chief, the Universal Champion, Roman Reigns. No one else compares. No one else stands to him. He is far and away the top wrestler, not only in WWE, but in all of wrestling. Roman Reigns, man. He headlined SmackDown. And then 2 days later, headlined Raw. And not only headlined Raw, but opened Raw as well. And he won both matches on Raw. And that just shows, like, Roman is that guy. Roman is the face of the WWE. He is the Universal Champion. And he's the top wrestler in all of wrestling right now. That's just how it is, which is insane. Like, so much fun. He is so much fun to watch now. His characters evolve so well to where like you can't help but like him, but you know that you have to hate him. I feel like it's at that point now. And I mean, like, it's Roman Reigns, man. That's all it is. All right, and with that being said, that's my top 25 wrestlers as of right now for my power rankings. Real quick recap, I'll go 5 and then 5, 5, 5. It's kind of like that. Top 5, Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, Big E, Bobby Lashley, Matt Riddle. 6 through 10 is Jey Uso, Edge, Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, Bianca Belair. 11 through 15, Becky Lynch, Damien Priest, Rhea Ripley, Finn Balor, Sheamus. 16 to 20 is Kofi and Woods, Charlotte, Alexa Bliss, Happy Corbin, Sami Zayn. And 21 through 25 is Kevin Owens, The Mysterios, AJ Styles, John Morrison, and Shinsuke Nakamura. And with that being said, make sure to go and like, subscribe to this video. This is the first one I'm putting together. More will be coming soon, hopefully. This will also be in a podcast format. If you don't want to watch the video, I will have it up at the podcast on Apple Music, Spotify Music, Anchor, all pretty much every podcast platform. It will be up there. And if you have any friends that like wrestling, send them this video.